Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope y'all are doing great. As I said in the last video, I'm currently working on a series of drawings of Batman villain. The idea was to make Two-Face as an X character, but I had some change of plans, and I ended up being commissioned to make a cover for a Batman fan comic. So I decided to make it as if it was an art for this project, especially because I'm gonna do another cover for the second issue of this fan comic, and the cover will have Two-Face on it. So Two-Face will come next. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to make a comic cover. Hi, I'm Lucas, and welcome to Artist Dilemma. Making a comic cover is challenging, but it's not a monster. If you have these 3 points in mind, making a comic cover will feel way easier. So, first, the cover is the most important page of the comic. So you had to create an illustration good enough to draw the attention of the people who's gonna see it on a bookshelf or online. If the cover is boring or not interesting enough, no one's gonna mind wasting their time to grab the comic and read it. Now, second, a cover has to serve the story. The idea here is to show the mood of the comic. If you're making a story with a darker tone, you cannot come up with a very colorful cover full of flowers and happy. You gotta make it in a way that serves the story that's told in the comic. So keep that in mind. Make something that makes sense for the story. Even if it doesn't have all the elements of the story, it gotta make sense in a way. 3. The composition will be your best friend in here. In illustration, we have lots of different compositions: triangular, rule of thirds, golden ratio, and etc. So studying and understanding composition will give you other ideas of how to portray and pose your character in the scene. This way, you're gonna make your scene way more interesting to look at and way more pleasant to look at. That's basically how it works. Okay, saying that is easy, but now you must be thinking, but what makes a cover truly special? Well, there isn't a specific point that makes it special, or it's a series of facts, but the main subject is simply being creative. When you come up with something different and try to be creative, you usually try to come up with different ideas that may run away from the usual, from the ordinary, like what we see in Mike Del Mundo's cover. His covers are so special because he's really creative and also comes up with different stuff, but you have to be careful. That doesn't mean everything you make creative will look nice. Sometimes an idea can look amazing inside our mind, but when you put it on paper, it's not as good as we were imagining. And that's totally okay. We won't hit the jackpot every single time, so be careful with that. Now moving to another very important aspect of the cover: color. Color will be your best friend when making a cover. This is what's gonna help you to properly set the mood of the scene you're creating. And for this, it's extremely important that you learn color theory to understand how the colors work together and how to use them properly. I highly recommend studying artists that has styles similar to what you want to make. For example, if you're working with more stylized artists, you look for artists that has this kind of art style, like Chris Samney, Scotty Young, or Darren Cook, for example, and see how the colors are used in at work. But now if you want to do something more rendered or realistic, you should look for Alex Rolls or Adrian Totino, or maybe Jorge Molina, for example. By the way, both Adrian and Jorge have a great Patreon where they share their process of their work. I truly recommend it, so I'm gonna leave the link in the description. You should take a look at it. But going back to color theory, knowing stuff like warm and cooler tones, or even how contrasts work with colors, will give you a nice array of possibilities. Now, let's talk about some rules that you have to mind when designing a cover. Your art won't be there alone. You have to remember that there will be text in the cover too, so you gotta remember to leave proper space for title and other text information that will be in the cover. So always check where the logo will be. In comics, they are usually at the top, and also do not add important elements near the border. They have a high chance of being cut out when the pages are printed. So keep important stuff near the center. let me talk about the cover I'm making here now. I recently had the opportunity to illustrate this Batman cover for a fan comic of a friend of mine, and from the very beginning, I wanted this piece to reflect the tone of the story, which has a darker atmosphere, but with some magical and mysterious element to it. So I tried to bring that into the illustration. Of course, Batman had to be the main focus of the image, but I also wanted to push that supernatural side a little further. That's why I added these tentacles around him to give the piece a more unsettling and almost Lovecraftian vibe. That's something strange hiding in the dark around him. I also wanted to make a small reference to Two-Face since he's one of the main villains in this story. So I decided to place his coin behind Batman as part of the composition. It helps framing Batman, actually. And when it came to the colors, I leaned mostly into purple tones because I felt they matched that physic and mystical atmosphere really well. And in the end, the goal of this cover was to mix Batman's darkness with more supernatural feel, and I had a lot of fun exploring that with this piece. Looking at it now, the only thing I feel that I could have blended better is not using that much purple maybe. I feel like it's missing another tone, something to bring some contrast with the purple, but I still like the idea of it. I tried to come up with a yellow light coming from below, but I think it wasn't enough. Maybe his belt more highlighted in yellow, but I still like it. When I got this cover done, I posted it on some subreddits, and for my surprise, some people commented stuff like, oh, that could easily be an official cover for DC. And that's quite interesting because if they're saying that, it means that maybe I did the right thing here. So I hit the goal that we've been discussing in this video of having a comic cover that draws the attention of the public. So that's very good, I guess. So that's pretty much it. If you want to read the comic, make sure to follow Luke on his socials, especially on Twitter. That's where he usually posts every update. I still don't know when the comic will be out, but stay tuned. He's posting updates very frequently. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. It'll be a pleasure to help you with that. So, thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.